So it's been a bit since I've done an odds and ends news video. I just wanted to kind of bump through as we're kind of making our way through the Foundation Festival. We have a lot of new folks. I want to also take a personal note here and thank you to all 600 of my subscribers for reaching that level. Those of you who have been with me for a long time, those of you who have come on more recently, you're all very much appreciated. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, if you just want to fly together, hit me up here on Reddit in the game. So anyway, let's jump into this. I recently picked up an account for family when they want to play with me, and I found something interesting. The Referral Dragonfly tripped me up when I used the code for the family member. It didn't show up in the account, so I was kind of scratching my head. How am I going to apply my Pisces $5 CCU from the Dragonfly? And then I found a little Foundation FAQ that explained that on July 18, after the end of the event, they will start rolling out the Dragonflies. So if you took my advice and you don't have a fancy Dragonfly sitting in your hangar, don't worry, in just a couple of days you will. And if you haven't picked up your CCUs yet, don't sweat that. For example, the Pisces will be available after this event. However, other ships that are for the Flea Fly from the overall Foundation Festival's paint set, they will not be available after the event is over until the next big sale. So bear that in mind if you're picking up something more unique. Additionally, the starter packs for the Foundation Festival are also going to end on July 18. So that's a major date. If you're on the fence and you've made an account and you're like, should I pick in or should I step in or not? I would recommend getting the cheaper starter pack and just calling it a day. Make sure you have a referral. Mine's in the description below. However, if you have a friend or an org mate who's already playing, you know the drill. They will greatly appreciate you giving them a referral. They also get a free Dragonfly if they don't already have a referral this event. And also, it goes towards other the items in the future. So if they get enough referrals, they can get a whole ship or at least some weapons and such for the ships. Also, the 100i, like I told you before, is a great pack. I've had a chance to fly this around. I've already upgraded it to a 125A on my alt account for family. Great little fun ship. Mason, you were on the right track there. So I wanted to talk about this guide system. I have yet to have a successful guide session because I've spent so much time in the very fast-paced PTU world where we are up to, I think it's K now? Let's go find out real quick. Okay, that was my bad. Usually I have two different tabs for the community stuff, and then I have another tab for the main site. But I know this area pretty well. So let's go to the patch notes now that we're in. So you can see here how far back my letters were. I just keep logging in. I install a new patch, and it's pretty crazy. Now, you can see patch M that was posted up a day ago, and N that was posted up 8 hours ago, is, I'm shooting on Friday night, by the way, was put up into Wave 2. That's correct, Wave 2. So that means all concierge, all subscribers, people that are not extremely active but are a decent bit active in the bug reporting system, putting in their statuses in the council, the issue council area, are all in the wave. Wave 3 is the only wave left, which is every single game owning package owner into the PTU. This is a good step forward, and it shows the confidence in this new patch by CIG. It also accelerates the path towards live. Also, you can see the known issue list is getting smaller and smaller. However, this is the other part I'm going to bring up. The pads situation is still exactly the same as it was before. You can land, you can get refueled, rearmed, repaired. You can get out and go on the elevator, and the ship will not be taken away from you. However, if you log out, or if you have an issue where you DC or something like that, the ship will have to be claimed through the insurance process, and then you get the ship exactly back the way it was. But that is, at the very least, a time sink and a little bit frustrating. So hopefully they will fix this, but leave the paths in the current state they're in. where it's a non-ATC controlled pad system that's more for temporary stops, and you can take your time without having to worry about the ATC getting on you or finding you about storing your ship constantly. Just some interesting side notes there. Additionally, on this patch, they have done a lot of other known issue fixes, as I alluded to already. And what do I mean by that? If I think in M you see less, and then let's see how far back I gotta go. Literally 2 days ago. Is that the one that's really bad? Here we go. And all these are not clicked because I'm using the organic browser, the Chromium-based browser still, ironically. But I usually use the Brave browser for my videos, for my viewing. I like having multiple tabs. I wish, if I had a wish list of what I'd ask of CIG, is to add tabs to this organic browser. So when I can go straight from my bootloader that has the game, I can simply hit Spectrum and the official site, and I can have multiple tabs saved up. Hopefully that'll be in the future. But you can see the known issue list is getting smaller and smaller. Look at the size of the bug fixes that you're seeing, and this is 3 days, 2 days, a day ago, 8 hours ago. That's kind of the span. You know, you can look and you can see this iterative patching. Do I think this is going to continue through the weekend? Absolutely not. So sorry to get your hopes up if you were thinking they would have anything more. However, the patch that they put up on a Friday is usually a pretty solid patch. And once again, you can see that there is some light fixing of technical stuff. There is only a short known issue list. In my opinion, we are about a week out, give or take, from a live 3.17.2 if CIG wants it then. I think with a free fly environment we're currently in for the next few days, it is entirely plausible that CIG will attempt to rush out the door a 3.17.2 live patch, but it's very unlikely unless there's just miracles being worked on the back end. Because with a free fly putting so much pressure, all those additional players more than normal, even with the new players that are purchasing game packs, it's only a percentage of the overall player count. So I just don't see it. I think it's also telling, if you look at the testing focus on the latest patches, that the Siege of Orison is set for July 17, 8-hour playtest. So that's the FPS gameplay at Orison. I'll include at the end of this video how to get to the platforms in the innovation area. Fascinating places, lots of fun stuff to explore. Can't wait to see it live again, and get my second chance at redemption. There's some very funny video in that with me and a Pisces doing like 3 FPS. Yeah, it was an interesting time. And then Jumptown, of course, on July 16, which has been around for a few times now. I will be brutally honest with you. I don't see the point of Jumptown not on a live server and not right before a wipe. It's just a big no from me. But I can understand why some people want to go out there and have a good battle. It's like my frustration is I bring out a ship, make sure I can respawn in it, and then somebody brings something big enough to blow that up, and then there's no fun there. I see the Siege at Orison as a more fun knock-around game where you keep dying, you can just respawn, you can go back over. At worst, you lost some armor and some weapons, you can loot some new armor, you can loot some food off the field, drink, like all sorts of crazy stuff's there. All sorts of exciting things to check out, and rare items that you can only get there. So that's a whole nother topic. There's some really cool collectibles in game. It is a shame that the wipe is coming, but it's coming with 3.17.2. So when they did the last major long-term persistence wipe, they had this time period where they offered additional UEC to all players to play. Kind of, sorry we had to do this. Here's a significant sum of UEC, and also, of course, the UEC in your packages and your referral. All of that comes back as well to a certain extent. So every time there's a wipe. So that on top of a very powerful gameplay mode like Siege of Orison would be really exciting for a lot of players, especially with V0 coming online of selling armors and other things you loot off the ground. I think they'll have to balance that to avoid abuse. Maybe the junk vendor is on another location, like Dumper's Depot on Area 18 or something like that. You have to take it all the way over there. But I could see some really exciting, interesting gameplay coming out of that. Also, remember, other players and NPCs are going to be firing upon you. So you and your friends can go in and loot the field and take that risk, but at the same time, other people will be doing the same thing, and some of them might not be so friendly. As a reminder, at least in the last playthrough testing, it's basically like if you take down 2 people, you have enough crime stat where the bad guys will literally offer you to join them. It doesn't take much. And bear in mind, do not wear black and blue armors because that's what the bad guys are wearing. Unless you are a bad guy, it's probably not the best idea. Players may have a bad identification, even with all the warnings and such. Some weapons in the game can do a ton of damage very quickly, especially when you're wearing lighter armors. So bear that in the back. Heck, even heavier armors, because most armor isn't in the game yet. It's basically just percentage points right now. So heavy armor versus light can be the difference between 20% or damage reduction, 10% damage reduction, 25% damage reduction. So you're still going to take a ton of damage, and then it has to calculate all that, but you're going to, it takes one more shell to take you down type of thing. By the time somebody target identifies, if they have like a very powerful shotgun at super short range, it's probably going to be too late. So go in with friends. Don't go solo if possible when it is actually an active FPS. If you do need to find new people, you can always just hang out on the Crusader showroom roof, catch up with them. It'd be better to not go over alone in case there's a group of players camping that are on the other side. Also, use your server chat. Bear in mind what's going on there. Yes, people can lie, but most of the time in this game, people will actively complain if somebody takes them down unfairly in their eyes. And don't forget, you don't have to get off the shuttle. If you suddenly see a bunch of weapon lights and some other interesting things going on those pads and it's clear it's players, just stay inside the shuttle. Don't be near the door. And then just ride the shuttle back to civilization. So that's just some thoughts, just some pro tips about the Siege of Orison. Don't forget, in PTU, obviously, if you lose, you could lose everything, who cares? But when it goes to live, that's going to be a little more interesting. I wouldn't go over there and subscribe to armors or anything else cheap, anything else expensive. Also, the limited weapon selection in Orison isn't exactly the best. It'd be better to pick up anywhere else in the verse what your favorite weapons before you go over. And don't forget, it's cheap to mod them. You can put a decent scope on there if you really want to, but the weapon recoil mods and such are very useful on the heavier style rifles, for example. You get the picture. You can go ham with all sorts of weapon systems, and obviously going to be picking some up too, don't forget. You only have so much space. And that brings me to another topic about, don't forget backpacks. If you're a late adopter, now's the time to start learning how to put a backpack on. You get your armor set, you match up a backpack to it once the armor is on your chest, and that's what it clicks into. And it's a ton more storage than your suit can offer by itself. Okay, so I've beaten this dead horse that comes to patch notes. I'm not going to do my usual chasing down every single patch note on account of they're every single day, in some cases less than 24 hours apart. And once we start seeing what the 3.17.2's live server is going to look like, that's when you'll see a lot of content from me pushing about what is good, what's bad, what folks are seeing. And that's one of the reasons that I made this video, was to talk about the Dragonfly referral, about how it's delayed, that you will still get it. Don't flood the petitions with issues. The community folks with petitions about the issues with the Dragonfly referral program. It's perfectly fine. It's working as intended. Same thing with some of the guide rewards. You'll get them at the end of the event. And yeah, let me know below or on Reddit what you feel about the Foundation Festival. If it's been something you've enjoyed. I know a lot of people had a bad taste in their mouth with the way the guide and the guidees were were being handled at the beginning, but I feel that Xylo put out a great direction that CIG went with this. He communicated that to the community very quickly. Less than a day later, he talked about how there was this push for not just reduced guide requirements to get the paints, to get everything else, but also, I mean, heck, I mean, you can do one guide service for each type of thing all at the same exact moment. All you need is one solid server for 30 minutes and one guidee. But also by having the rewards given to the guidee, I believe that equalizes the playing field a little bit and encourages new players. It's not perfect. I do agree with many who've made the point that having this rushed out, like I'm gonna miss out on this paint, I'm gonna miss out on this hat, a beanie, all these things, certainly detracts from the system. It kind of encourages people to rush, kind of encourages people to have that fear of missing out. Where if this was just like, hey, this is the new thing for the next year, you'd have your early adopters, and then everyone else would be like, when they're comfortable to take part, either side, they'd go for it. So I would like to see that kind of happen, or as others have put forward, seasonal type, rewards that come back each year. We'll see. Don't forget that the next major sale is gonna be a little bit of a ways off, but I mean, I always keep my mind out for IAE and the International Festival and such, Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, the IAE. I think that there's a lot to be had there. I think there's a lot of value that IAE offers to the table for people that are looking, especially to CCU, people that are looking for longer term gains on their ships. And, of course, Jax McCleary's back again. That's going to be pretty cool. Well, at least I hope to see him. He's been every one of these now, but hopefully he sticks with that pattern. And, Talk Like a Pirate Day. I have a small update on that. So there has been multiple folks who have pushed for having the new pirate paints that they've been talking about and teasing with like the skull and crossbones on the ships. CIG representatives have confirmed that is actually going to be a thing this go around. So on Talk Like a Pirate Day, there will be these wonderful new skins. And if I see it right, pro level strats here, literally Googling something or ducking something right in the middle of something. Talk Like a Pirate Day is September 19th, 2022. So, I'm pretty excited about that. And another chance to get some paints. It'd be kind of cool if you could earn them in game, or at least earn some of them in game. That would be pretty exciting, I think, for a lot of folks. And we're still waiting to find out if that includes the uber rare Pirate Gladius and the Pirate Caterpillar. That are basically a sore point for a lot of folks who didn't get the early day LTI for that, and that support just can't offer. Community folks have not been able to offer LTI upgrades. It's basically 6 months insurance on a Caterpillar or a Gladius, and that's just not fun, to say the least. And hopefully they'll fix that, and these paints are that fix. I think that would be a fair compromise, is to offer a new version that's just the paint. So the ship isn't renamed into the Pirate Caterpillar, but the paint is the same paint. That would be pretty dang cool, and that would be something to kind of preserve the excitement, the rarity of the ship and one little unique trait of it, but still embrace the new players, and also older players who they want more than 6 months insurance on a ship that is so expensive. I think CIG sometimes, I'm not saying gonna forget, but kind of needs to be cognizant of different levels of budget. That some people, the Caterpillar is the capital ship of their fleet, so to speak. It's the gem of their fleet. Or a C2 Herc. I can't tell you how many people I've heard say something like that about how I'm going to build my whole game around this insert ship here, and it tends to be one of these middle level ships, at least in the eyes of CIG when you hear them talk. But those are large ships. Those are ships that are a decent size, and they can carry a significant amount of SCU. You can earn a ton of UEC with either one of those ships, for example. And those ships are not exactly slouches in combat, depending on which variant we're talking about with the Hercules. And in the Caterpillar's case, it's okay at combat, depending on what type of combat you're asking it to do. And the Caterpillar's case, it's highly modular, so we haven't even seen its final form. But yeah, I think that CIG needs to think carefully about how those ships are represented, and embrace those owners that see this as their one and only ship, or the gem of their fleet, where they want to make this the ship that really matters to them. In their eyes, this is their cap ship, this is their dream ship. And by allowing them to decorate the ship with a paint that already exists, it makes sense, especially when players are asking to be able to even just buy that item and enjoy LTI, so they never have, or 10-year insurance at least, so they never have to worry ever again, basically, about insurance on their beautiful ship that they want. I gotta say, like, that, it just seems like something that makes a lot of sense. And this is coming from somebody with the military Hornet upgrade pack I picked up years and years ago, just to take part in that donation process through CIG. And I gotta tell you, like, I have that sitting in my account for years and years now, since it was released, and I can't use it. And I hear people talk about how on the gray market they spend buku bucks on these things, and that's really sad to me, because that's another example of something where you could have preserved the uniqueness of having it have a different trait, maybe a slightly different paint effect to it, maybe have a slightly different body kit. You know, each year it has a slightly different one, and then you could still have donations to a good cause every year by allowing more people have access. I know this is heresy to some people, so I'm just going to keep my opinion to that level. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but this is something that I think is important. And I think as a community, we need to start thinking about these smaller things, like the paints, like having access to more control and customization of your ship. I see that as a right of players. Like, a backer that backs this specific ship should have the ability to decorate it the way they please. And there should be, sooner than later, more upgrades for in-game for all ships, honestly, but especially for ships that CIG can look at the stats and go, okay, we've got this many Caterpillar owners, let's make sure they're happy. Okay, we got this many Cutlass owners, let's make sure they're happy. Okay, that 400i sold really well, you know, its internals are great, it has some really nice paints, but what can we do to make these users really feel like the ship's their own? There needs to be these little customizations. I know they're not going to go to the level of the 300i anytime soon again. I know there was a lot of hurdles they had to technically jump through, and unfortunately, that is still you have to pay cash in order to upgrade that customization packs on the 300i. It would be nice to see that in game, which has been alluded to and suggested a few times that they're looking into and considering, but to what extent and how that would work is a great question. I think that might be an interesting way for them to segue from the pay for in cash market on the website and start drawing in-game comparisons. So take the 300i, the 325a, the 315p, the 350r upgrades, and put them into the equivalent of a Crow's Customs operation, but like for Origin. So you go into a building, it doesn't even have to be finished. You can just have like a screen, basically. Hell, let's talk about Chromium-based browsers. I want to see some upgrades on them anyway. In game, though, and you go to this building blocks terminal, and you can upgrade your ship, and then over time, say years, you know, as we continue through patches, they can go back and add little by little things. Maybe a customized one of each ship, a fully loaded package, so to speak. One in that carbon fiber yellow, that looks really cool, by the way, on those ships. One with the racing seats and the style of the racing thing on the 350R. One that's fully upgraded to look very classy with the wood and such on the 300i, the touring edition, but with a unique type of wood that you normally wouldn't see. And one with the interceptor package with like the 325A, which, once again, you can buy all the modules and weapons in that pack in-game with credits. So why not just let the customizations also exist? And I guarantee this would be barnstormers for players. Players would suddenly want the 300 series ships. And I don't think it's just about those ships. I think it's about having that power to customize their ship and really enjoy it. And I think the biggest thing that would drive people crazy, this is probably, I don't know if this is even possible, but if you could customize in the game and then save that template, save that customization package to this website. So it's the first time ever that you would be able to pay with in-game credits to customize, you know, the $1 coffee machine, the $2 food processor, that kind of stuff, and the you know, the $2 seat, you know, that kind of stuff. But you earn enough, you can, instead of, say, just doing it in game, you can buy it, and you can proudly keep it on your account forever from now on. I think that would sell a ton of 300s. Remember, I'm not talking about buying a 300 in game and then being able to upgrade it in game and then have it just magically to the hangar. I'm talking about if you bought the ship out inside the store, in the website store, then being able to customize it in game. That would be an exciting value added, and it would not be much money. And it's a customization system that's kind of dormant now. You know, it's not really doing much. And that could become a template for future upgrades to ships, where you'd start seeing that feedback loop. We've had items you can earn in game, and then they show up in your hangar, like the Vandal mask, and you know, we've had a couple of them. The Benny Henge mask, that one as well, the same type of event. But we haven't had something that is it was Benny Henge, and then the third one was going to Jumptown once, the Veil Horror one. But anyway, we haven't had something at this level where you can literally customize the ship, make it your own, be able to be on the ground and checking out this gear in a display showcase, and kind of customizing and tweaking the ship, and then being able to see the results of that. And it would also survive a wipe. I think that would be quite amazing. And that would sell a lot of 300s. And hopefully that, you know, could be carried out and rolled out to many other kinds of ships in the future. I see that as the future, is modifying, customizing, making ships your own. You know, less concepts, more of this, like maintenance of your fleet and enjoying your fleet, and earning some of it in game, less so having to constantly purchase things. Would be nice. So combination would be nice. Building your fleet and then customizing it by earning it. Or if you choose not to do any of that in game, you can of course still pay through the website. I think that duality is fine. All right, so that's gonna do it for me. I kind of had a bit of a free-form talk here. I know this isn't ideal. I know this isn't perfect, but this is all I had the energy to put together tonight. I wanted to get a few ideas off my chest and talk about the patch cycle, expectations for the next week, and also my thoughts on 3.17.2 and having you guys ready for it, and control the Dragonfly epidemic of people going, where's my stuff? And I followed your advice, and where is it? You know, so bear with me, bear with CIG, a couple days, you'll be fine. All right, fly safe.